Thank you for coming out here tonight for the premiere of Destination Homestead. Mayor Steve Losner's State of the City Address. Now tonight you're going to see a short film that tells the story of Homestead through the voices of the mayor and our elected officials. Now before we begin, I want to thank the mayor and city council, city manager Jerry Estrada, city clerk Elizabeth Sewell, city attorney Matt Pearl, and the rest of city staff who made tonight possible. Let's give them a hand. Now at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Pastor Howard Harden for the invocation. So everyone, please stand. Pastor.
Let us pray. Father in heaven, as we think about where we are and where we have been, we cannot help but think that you have been good to us. You have blessed this city with great peoples from different cultures, with natural beauty, dedicated leaders, and devoted public servants who labor and sacrifice to make this city the best that it can be. Homestead is blessed, and we are blessed to be a part of it. And on this day, this 30th anniversary of Hurricane Andrew, we remember the loss that this city suffered, but we also see how you brought beauty from the ashes. And you alone know what trials will come in the future. You alone know what storms, literal or figurative, await us, and you are already there. So give us the grace to face whatever challenges may come and help us to confront them with wisdom, courage, and faith. We ask that you would continue to pour out your blessings on this city, and especially our schools, our many local businesses, our nonprofits, our first responders, and community leaders, and help us to be a blessing as we remember what you taught us, that we should love our neighbors as ourselves. I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Everyone, please remain standing as we do the presentation of colors by the Homestead Police Honor Guard, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, presented by Kevin Peterson, and the National Anthem, sung by Alexandra Serrano. Gentlemen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we'd watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
Thank you, everyone. You may be seated. Thank you again, Pastor Harden, Mr. Peterson, Ms. Serrana. Wow. And now comes the time. It's my pleasure to introduce our feature presentation, Destination Homestead, Mayor Steve Losner's State of the City Address.
Hi, I'm Steve Losner, Mayor of our City of Homestead. And since 1913, Homestead has been a destination with opportunities for all of its residents, visitors, businesses, and investors. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines destination in 4 ways. The purpose for which something is destined, an act of setting aside something for a goal, a place to which one is journeying or is sent, and lastly, a place worthy of travel. Your elected officials have been committed to seeing progress in just one destination, Homestead. As we continue this journey to make Homestead the best city in South Florida, let's look back. This year is the 30th anniversary of Hurricane Andrew, which shattered our community and left billions of dollars in damages behind. For those of us who weathered the storm, it will never be forgotten. Recovery took decades. Homes were rebuilt, businesses reopened, new construction began, and property values increased. But then, just as we built momentum, the economy crashed, and with it, our property values. By late 2019, Homestead was on the rise. Then came COVID. Not only was it the deadliest pandemic in our lifetime, but it was also a major economic interruption. Everything halted, impacting businesses, unemployment, tourism, and many of the projects the city had underway. We have all been through our fair share of challenges, yet we could not be more optimistic about where we are all headed next.
Homestead is the destination for revitalization. Your bond approval jump-started the resurgence of downtown Homestead, and now we're on the cusp for arts, entertainment, and opportunity.
Look around Homestead. You don't have to go to another city to find great shopping or dining. You can also enjoy a variety of delicious cuisines and unique treats when you dine in downtown. The city celebrated the grand opening of the world's first librarium, and families in and around Homestead are enjoying this unique public library that fuses learning and technology. Residents and visitors enjoy stunning performances and events at the Seminole Theater. Homestead Station, the city's newest entertainment destination, introduced Showbiz Cinemas, a luxurious movie-going experience with boutique bowling and a modern arcade. The Homestead Community Redevelopment Agency is implementing programs toward the renaissance of 4th Street. The first-time homebuyer program generates wealth-building opportunities with down payment and closing cost assistance for eligible buyers in the Southwest area. The CRA also focused on transit-oriented development, which encourages live-work access close to transit options.
Homestead is the destination for quality of life. As a mom, I'm grateful that the city continues to invest in maintaining great recreational facilities and ensures access to gorgeous parks.
The Homestead Sports Complex sits on 130 acres and will provide our community with a wealth of new amenities, including artificial turf and lighted soccer fields, basketball, pickleball, and volleyball courts, competition running track, lakeside picnic pavilions, and much more. The first phase of the Biscayne Everglades Greenway Trail opens this year. The paved 42-mile bicycle and pedestrian trail extends from downtown Homestead and connects it directly to Biscayne and Everglades National Parks. Our award-winning National Parks trolley transported residents and visitors to Biscayne and Everglades National Parks, where they enjoyed nature, took advantage of ranger-guided tours, and learned about the wildlife at visitor centers. If you missed it, the trolley will be back next season in December. The city is embarking on a comprehensive parks master plan and has held a series of public meetings to seek input from residents on the facilities, programs, and amenities that would best serve their communities. The Lossner Park expansion in the heart of our historic downtown is finally near completion. For over a century, the Lossner family has committed to progress in Homestead, and the new Lossner Park will be incredible. The expansion, funded solely through impact fees and grants, will provide several recreational areas, including the new Veterans Memorial, an all-ages play structure, event stage, great lawn, and Everglades garden.
Homestead es el destino para el desarrollo económico. That's right, Homestead is the destination for economic development. We've proven that this community is worth investing in. And because of that, we continue to attract major developers and employers.
We are thrilled to welcome Amazon to Homestead. Its new 145,000 square foot fulfillment center will bring 400 diverse jobs, a significant increase to our tax base, and allow us to attract other national and international job creators and economic generators to our city. Last year, over 4,100 permits were filed, and despite the pandemic, hundreds of new businesses opened their doors, including Sprouts, Popeyes, and Crafty Crab. Others are still under construction, such as Raising Cane and Target. Plans are in place to transform the previous City Hall site into a mixed-use development that would attract dining, retail, commercial, and residential tenants. There is no better place in Florida for employers and developers to invest in right now than the city of Homestead. Our city boasts a strong multilingual workforce and is one of the few places remaining in Miami-Dade County with available land uniquely positioned within federal opportunity zones. Despite the financial challenges of COVID, the city has successfully passed a balanced budget and was awarded a Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for the 18th consecutive year.
Homestead is the destination for arts and education. We are a community rich with culture and promise, so we're doing everything we can to foster that potential.
Our schools continue to make notable achievements in education. 18 teachers from across our city were nominated for Teacher of the Year. Many of our schools offer magnet programs in engineering, science, and technology. Construction is well underway at the Miami-Dade College Student Success Center. The $36 million, 60,000 square foot facility mimics the design of City Hall and will focus on fostering entrepreneurs to address the city's community and workforce development needs. The impact that entrepreneurs have on the economy and their community is undeniable. We want Homestead to be a place where they can be innovative and thrive. The center will include a campus bookstore, classrooms, computer labs, and conference space with an art gallery to display student and community art exhibitions. The city hosts an annual art walk to provide families with a fun-filled day showcasing the work of professional and student artists, interactive activities, crafts, live music, and performances. The city's Public Art Committee has also proposed an ambitious work plan that represents more than $800,000 in new public art amenities throughout our parks and neighborhoods.
Homestead is your destination for accessibility, not just fast cars, but connecting you to things that make your life better: jobs, opportunity, and adventure.
Homestead is the gateway to the Florida Keys and 2 picturesque national parks. We've expanded our turnpike access, added new smart light traffic signals, and widened streets to better handle traffic flow during peak hours. Miami-Dade County is constructing a bus rapid transit system that provides a highly anticipated mobility connection between the Miami Central Business District and Homestead, reducing the average commute time by up to 40%. The Federal Transportation Administration is providing $7.6 million in grant funding to upgrade the trolley system, restoring streets, streetscapes, and updating bus stop shelters.
Homestead is the destination for community. We look out for each other in ways that you don't see in many places anymore. We've managed to keep our small town charm while offering big city opportunities.
During COVID, there were hundreds of food drives throughout the city by various organizations for families facing a difficult time. Great people are the backbone of Homestead, and ensuring their safety is our top priority. Over the last 2 years, the city has added 12 additional police officers, 1 investigative aide, and 2 code compliance officers to better serve our community. Our Homestead Police Athletic League provided youth activities for more than 200 local students between the ages of 5 and 17. The city also received grant funding to support a variety of important public health and safety measures. $320,000 toward the ShotSpotter detection software, which will be installed throughout Homestead to pinpoint anywhere a gunshot is fired to better respond. $500,000 to fund free breast cancer screenings and aid in early detection. $175,000 to enhance senior citizen programming at the Ficall Williams Community Center so that our elderly population can better combat the isolation they sometimes experience. The City of Homestead is making strides to improve its green initiatives with the Keep Homestead Beautiful campaign, a beautification and conservation initiative to encourage residents and visitors to plant native trees and plants, pick up litter, clean up graffiti, recycle, and take ownership and maintain our community. Stay connected because there's always something happening in Homestead. No one knows how to put on a party like we do. Make sure to follow us on social media and don't miss the award-winning Inside Homestead for an in-depth look on important issues and upcoming events. Homestead comes together to celebrate throughout the year. Our events attract families from near and far for the Halloween drive-thru, the downtown Christmas tree lighting, Easter egg hunt, Race to the 4th fireworks, and we go big for our veterans during Military Appreciation Day, where we honor the men and women who serve our country. The city has a vision, and it feels like we're just beginning this great new journey. Together, every day, we all do our part to transform Homestead. Business owners, teachers, police officers, investors, and most importantly, you. We are focused on ensuring that Homestead remains the destination we all deserve for generations to come.
What an amazing video. Now, this time, please hold your applause till the end because we got to acknowledge the voices that were in this video. We got Vice Mayor Julio Guzman, Councilwoman Jennifer Bailey, Councilwoman Erica Avila, Councilman Larry Roth, Councilwoman Patricia Fairclough Staggers, Councilman Sean Fletcher, and without further ado, let's have the mayor, Steve Losner.
Wow, what a long room. And my colleagues have heard me say this before, but isn't it nice to all be together at the same time in the same room with our full faces visible? Seems like it's been a long time. Before we get started, I want to again thank all of our city staff who have been working for a few months to put all this together, this professionally appearing video. And look, I don't know who that old bald guy is who claimed to be me. I think I need to file an identity theft report. But staff has worked really hard, and I appreciate all that they've done. And once again, I want to thank all of our sponsors, as well as the good folks of the Homestead Miami Speedway who made this room possible tonight. So thank you all. Now, it occurred to me on the way out here tonight that it's really appropriate that on this day we are here at this facility, because without the landfall that Hurricane Andrew made, this facility would probably not be here today. It was conceived as an economic generator, a seed to help bring back the economy and create jobs in not only a devastated Homestead, but a wiped out South Dade. And if I might borrow a baseball analogy, I guess they call Yankee Stadium the house that Babe built, and we'll meet him again in a few minutes. Perhaps we should call this the house that Tad built, that former Mayor DeMille was really one of the bulldogs that was insistent that this happened. And again, under the old adage that nothing good happens quickly, good things take time. It took many years to assemble the land and bring this facility to what it is today. I want to recognize some of the elected officials that are either here or represented here tonight. First and foremost, we have with us our newly reelected United States member of the United States Congress, Carlos Jimenez. We also have with us somewhere Palmetto Bay Mayor Karen Cunningham is also with us. We have several other elected officials represented by members of their staff tonight. We thank them for being here on behalf of Senator Rick Scott, State Representative Jim Moody, the Board of County Commission Chair Jose Pepe Diaz, our newly reelected District 8 Commissioner Danielle Cohen-Higgins. Congratulations to her. District 9, Keone McGee, Pinecrest Mayor Joe Cordino. And I don't know who they think they are, but Mayors Meerbot from Cutler Bay and Wallace from Florida City are each off on vacation somewhere. I don't know what that's all about. Many of our county commissioners, and we also have a representative from Mayor Levine Cava's office here. Let's remember that many of our commissioners spent the day today at funeral services for, and let's call it what it is, a murdered Miami-Dade police officer. Those services were held today, and I know many of our officials spent the day and the several preceding days with the family of that officer, culminating today in the funeral. So, welcome to the third rescheduled 2020, and I didn't mispronounce that, 2020 State of the City. Several earlier drafts of my remarks started with the well-known line borrowed from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. And those words remain true in describing the experiences of the people of Homestead, not only during the pandemic, but in the other challenges we have met throughout the years. In retrospect, it's probably best that we did not present a State of the City in 2020 or 2021, as at times it seems circumstances changed at least hourly. Today, however, the state of the city is strong, as we are well positioned to be Destination Homestead. And I forgot to mention, Maybe the video is just like the coming attractions. I'm the feature presentation, and you've got about 25 more minutes. But as we travel together to Destination Homestead, we'll take a look back tonight at the past events which brought us to this moment, as we look confidently to the journey ahead, a journey that is already underway toward bringing our homestead back to the future as the destination of deep South Miami-Dade. Of course, I'm sure when you got the invitation, you wondered whether this gathering on this day was a coincidence or if bringing us all together on this August 24th was intentional. It was intentional. Because but for a tropical disturbance by the name of Andrew, who visited us in the early morning hours of that fateful Monday, we would likely not be the community we are today. The two cities, one transformed forever, marking time as before, and that second city we are today, the after, home to a population drawn from throughout the world, nearly 4 times that of the population that existed on August 24th, 1992. We are a community with endless opportunity before us, with the experience, knowledge, and wisdom gained through not only the mistakes, but the accomplishments of our past. For those of us among us who ventured out of our homes, businesses, or other places of shelter in the pre-dawn hours of August 24th, struggling to comprehend the scope and scale of destruction, none of us could have ever imagined the homestead of today. As we reflect tonight on the most noteworthy date in the history of our city, let us remember, but more importantly, let us finally and fully move beyond being identified as a destroyed and second-rate community. As we travel toward Destination Homestead, let us put Andrew in the rear-view mirror, savor the journey ahead, and make note of the sights along the way. Although he could not be with us in person tonight, the man whose name and voice is synonymous with Andrew has graciously shared his reflections on that time. Let's watch and listen.
Hi everybody, I'm so sorry I can't be with you there this evening, but know my heart is there with you. I can't believe it's been 30 years since your world was turned inside out and all of our lives were changed forever. I think all of us, Andrew people, divide our lives between before Andrew and after Andrew, and it's always going to be that way. But Andrew wasn't like most storms that we deal with today. Most people found out about it for the first time on Saturday, and some even on Sunday, and hit, of course, overnight, Sunday night into Monday morning. But Sunday was preparation day, and just think how different it would be today, because people were running around getting prepared, but nobody had a smartphone, so nobody was looking at the satellite pictures as it was getting stronger and stronger. Nobody kind of had that drumbeat going on in their heads all day. So it wasn't until that night that we knew that a bad hurricane was coming in our general direction. But of course, nobody imagined a storm like Andrew. I'd studied a lot of hurricanes, and certainly I never imagined something like that. So let me tell you a story about the week after Andrew hit. I went down to Harrisfield Park I think it was a Tuesday, to report for the news that afternoon, and I was meeting a photographer down there. He wanted to go out into the neighborhoods. I said, I don't think anybody's in the neighborhoods here. I think they've all come now to the tent city. But we walked down Northeast 12th Avenue out of Harrisfield Park, and sure enough, there was a young mother and her daughter in a doorway in a townhouse on the left side of 12th Avenue there. And when we went up to the mother, I could tell this blank face, a blank stare on her face. I could tell she was in shock. And the little girl didn't have any shoes on. There was debris everywhere. I mean, it was frightening and just horrendous. But she wanted us to come in, and in the living room there was a mattress on the floor, and this is the mattress that they used to protect themselves during a storm, and she just pointed up the stairs. And this kind of shocked look on her face, and I went up the stairs and I turned the corner, and I could see the sky. And then I realized everything there was soaked, and if you remember the week after Andrew hit later that week, it poured buckets of rain, and all that water came down those stairs, and I went down to the mattress, and it was soaking wet, and that's what they were sleeping on. So I had to get back to the park in the tent city, because that's where we were going to broadcast from, but I found a soldier and told him about the young mom and the little girl, and he promised to go down and help them out, and he said, yeah, that's what they were seeing, was people in shock. That was it, and that look of shock has stayed with me for the last 30 years. But today we celebrate. Mother Nature declared war on Homestead and South Dade, and you guys won. My best to you always.
You know, and that video was done by Brian Norcross just on very few days' notice, and we certainly appreciate that. He responded to my email literally within 10 minutes. We put him in touch with our city staff, in touch with his staff, and it was just so gracious of him to join us again tonight. The guest list for tonight has included all of our former Homestead mayors. And while they all had their highs and lows during their time in office, only one had the dubious and unexpected distinction of being the mayor of the city that was very nearly wiped off the map. Tad DeMille served as vice mayor and councilman from 1983 to 1987, was elected mayor in 1987, holding that office until 1997. More than once I have heard him say that some of his post-Andrew time in office was probably in part because no one else wanted the job. So it's my pleasure to welcome back Mayor Tad DeMille, who in a minute is going to share some of his Andrew reflections and the aftermath with us. But it occurred to me tonight, coming out here, that Mayor DeMille hasn't been back to Homestead in probably 5 years. And I've heard the stories of he and the city manager and city staff emerging from the basement of the old city hall, and just imagine the moonscape that they saw, and really this feeling of, I don't really know where I am. Well, I'm sure if it's been 5 years since Mayor DeMille's been in Homestead, he relived those feelings on his way into town tonight. Mayor DeMille, thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. And you're absolutely right. Two things. One, it's a long room. and secondly, I don't know where the hell I am, except we're here at the racetrack. Steve, it's sent to me the invitation to come down from Tennessee, and Gloria and I made the trip down, and it's certainly rewarding to be here and see so many folks. Andrew was I guess when I talked to some of the media, it was a character building opportunity, and we certainly learned from that. We were in, as Brian Norcross was saying, we didn't really know about the storm until Sunday. My family and I were down in Key Largo, and were told to evacuate on Sunday morning, had the boat down there and all these other things, and finally got back up to town, put the storm shutters up at my office, my travel agency, right next door to the Goodyear store, and then did my mom's house. And one of the things that I did learn was it's a total waste of time to put that masking tape on your glass windows. we put that crap up, and I got to tell you, there was nothing but wads of tape and glass at our house. I didn't get a chance to do that. But the storm actually began for the city manager and myself and our wonderful police officers the evening of the 23rd. Alex Muxo and I were touring the city, taking a look to see how well prepared we were, and none of us had any idea that we were going to get a Cat 5. And we thought we'd get a pretty good storm, but I didn't think it was going to be a Cat 5. And we actually thought those of us that grew up down here, in Homestead actually thought that when it got to the Gulf Stream, picked up the friction of the stream, it would end up going into Lauderdale or somewhere in that area. But regardless, Alex and I were touring the city, and we came to the eastern side of the city, over where the villages of Homestead were, or is, and there was an ALF out there with these folks living in this facility. There were probably 100 people in there, and they had not evacuated. They were still there. And again, for those of us that know this area geographically, that's a really, really wet area potentially, and it's certainly going to take the brunt of the storm. So Alex was savvy enough to be able to get a hold of Dade County, and we were able to get 3 or 4 buses. We called our police officers, and they came out there, and we actually carried folks out of the home into the buses and sent them to Miami to where they could be safe. We were able to get back out to that area probably 4 or 5 days after Andrew came through, and it was leveled. And we would have had at least 100 more dead people in this community had we not done that. The storm, of course, came flying in, and we got 160, 170 knot winds out of the northwest. The eye of the storm came right over top of our house, as it did many of the other houses here in the community. With the exception at our house, we had a car pull up in our front yard in the middle of the eye of the storm. It was like, what are these people doing out? Why are they driving in this? Well, it was a family of Haitians, and their home, they were looking for the hospital, and we were deeply concerned that somebody had been hurt. They had not been hurt, but their home had blown apart. And I guess in Port-au-Prince or in Haiti, the safest place to go would be the hospital, and that's where they were looking for. We tried to get them to come into our house. By the time they got back out to the car, the winds had come again from the other side of the storm, and immediately jumped up to 170 knots or whatever it was. So they rode out the storm, and we could see them through our tapeless, glassless windows in the front. And their car was doing this number. We're just waiting for it to roll. And fortunately did not. And anyway, after the storm went through, we were able to go out and talk with them a little bit more. But the thing that struck me immediately when we were outside was that all of the pine trees across the road from our house were telephone poles. They had no tops, and they had just blown completely off. And I had never seen anything like that in my years of living here all of my life and going through a number of storms. As we reflect on this 30th anniversary again, Steve's grown up down here, I've grown up, a number of you all have. I always wondered back in the 50s why the folks from the Keys kept talking about the 35 hurricane. And that was, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago in 1965. Now I understand why they talked about that life-changing event, because this, Andrew, was certainly a life-changing event for this community. As Alex and I and Gloria began touring the city, and the winds were still blowing 30, 40 knots, but we began touring the city, a Winnebago-type vehicle pulled up and wanted to know where they could set up. And I said, who the heck are you guys? What's the story here? They were the emergency response group from Charleston, South Carolina, that had gone through Hugo. And they wanted to come down and be here to help us so that we didn't have to reinvent the wheel, and we didn't have to go through what they had gone through from the initial aspects of the hurricane. And they told Alex and myself that it's going to be at least 5 years, before you guys get anywhere toward recovery. And of course, Alex is Cuban, mucho macho, and he says, "Nah, 3 años, we'll have it up and running in 3 years." Well, that's not the case, as we all know, and it was a heck of a storm. We were almost orphans here in Homestead and Florida City in South Dade County. Kate Hale, who was the emergency management person for the county, said it really well. She said it on national television. Where the hell's the cavalry? They weren't there, and we were entering into a period of anarchy in the community. I mean, we didn't have electricity. We did have water. We were able to get the water running, but we didn't have any of the other amenities that we needed. and we didn't seem to have any help from Dade County at that point. So Alex was able to get a hold of the president through Andy Card, and the president sent down to us General Sullivan, Gordon Sullivan, 4-star, to actually bring in the cavalry so that we could begin recovery and have some they're precluded, of course, from doing police functions, but just the presence of having military officers or military enlisted men and women there on the streets meant so much for this community. As we did a number of things from a local sense. Jim Atkins at the Goodyear store, we were just talking, reminiscing about Jim. Jim came to us at the city and said, if you'll get us a generator, get him a generator, and fuel, because we had, I guess Brian Norcross was saying about the debris, which there was tons of debris everywhere, and all of our city vehicles had flat tires. Yeah, the police cars had all blown out windows, blown out windshields, and our officers were riding around town and basically convertibles with tops on them, that type of thing. But we were able to get the Goodyear folks up so that they were able to take care of the city vehicles first as a priority, and then the community as a whole. Your dad, Steve, with First National Bank, bypassed all of the banking regulations and just said, hey, we are going to service this community, and we're going to do it with pride, and we're going to do it with fairness. And he didn't have to do that, but he did. It was just an amazing time. We had so many good people that came forward, and there were some rotten ones. There were some folks out there that were looting, and I asked Kurt Ivey, who was our chief of police at the time. I said, Kurt, can we just shoot the guys? He said, no, Mary, you can't do that. I said, well, can we arrest them? He said, we can arrest them, but we don't have any place to put them. Because the police station was blown apart like everything else in the community. There were, and most of you all, I would say a goodly number of you anyway, were here, and you remember the devastation, and I'll not go into that side of it because it's all still vivid in our minds. But 30 years is long enough, and we can put it in the rearview mirror. There were a number of people that came through to be seen on TV or to have their pictures taken with the devastation. One of the things that I admired most as mayor was George Bush came to town, George Sr. He came 4 times actually. Went through one of the tent cities, and there are so many politicians and others, but politicians in this world that love to have their pictures taken. The president found a young Spanish child like this in tatters with no shoes, etc. Picked the child up and held the child, turned his back to the TV crews, the president did. That's why I still get emotional at some of this 30 years later. But the president had tears, but it was not a photo op. It was not a photo op. It was an opportunity for a father or a grandfather to relate to a child. And it was so moving, and still, as you can tell, 30 years later, it was really, really an amazing experience, and one that I'll not forget. And I'll conclude. I know that you said we had 25 minutes, but I'll only use about 4 or 5 words. One of the things that I'm reminded of today that I didn't realize how fortunate we were as a community in those days. But we had public servants. This is in today's environment. The conversation is based on today's environment. We had public servants in those days that put people above party. They didn't. Certainly, we had philosophical divides, but we did not have the partisanship that takes place today. And we had a Republican president George Bush Sr., a wonderful man, did a great service for this community. We had a Democratic governor, Lawton Childs, who was equally dedicated. We had a Republican senator, Connie Mack, and we had a Democratic senator, Bob Graham. And these men, and they were elected men, but they could have been women or men, either one. But these individuals came to Homestead, Florida City, South Dade County. They put their parties aside and did what was good for the community. And as an American, I would love to see that occur again today, so that we were able to. Thank you, Steve. Mayor Shiver. Good to see you in the audience today. But in any event, it was, as I said, a character building opportunity. One of the news media asked me, Mayor, he says, you see the light at the end of the tunnel? This was a year later. And I looked at the guy on TV and I said, well, I found the tunnel. So in any event, it's wonderful to be back with you all. And Mr. Mayor, I sincerely appreciate the invitation. I know that Gloria and I enjoy being back here. And thank you again so much for inviting us. Thank you.
I'm sure that Mayor DeMille's life felt like Groundhog Day for months and months and months on end. Like the T-shirts and the bumper stickers say, I survived the hurricane, but the recovery may kill me. We can relate. So, but for the 400 plus dedicated men and women who come to work every day to keep our lights on, the water running, our streets clean, the budget in check, and our families safe. But for those folks, none of that which my council colleagues and I hope to accomplish would be possible. It is only through their efforts, led by our city manager, utilizing his 30 years plus experience in Homestead, that we can complete the journey to Destination Homestead. Each and every city employee is an integral part of the machinery that keeps Homestead running. From the newest part-time employee to the many who have served us for 3, 4, and even 5 decades, each and every one of you is equally important to the city, and you have my ultimate respect and gratitude. And the 6 distinct and unique individuals who have been elected to serve as council members are fully on board the journey to Destination Homestead. And while it often seems each of us is following the direction of a completely different map or travel app, which, like in real life, sometimes leads to some really interesting discussions, I'm certain that despite the many different paths we choose, each is intended to lead to the same Destination Homestead. And if you'll indulge me for a moment, while as the oldest member of the electeds, I want to offer to all of you and to all of us here an observation. I believe the best path forward to our desired destination is not the fastest, smoothest, or easiest to follow. Let's travel the scenic back roads to discover not only ourselves, but that this adventure is ever evolving, where our journey produces results and our desire to reach a better destination just around the corner never ends. As my 6 fellow travelers and I continue this journey, each of us will also take side trips down our favorite paths, whether it be toward the arts, education, public safety, tourism development, or job creation. And tonight we're honored by the presence of so many elected officials from across the political spectrum, from Washington, D.C. to downtown Miami and to the Keys, who are here in support of our homestead. At this time in our community, we are the beneficiaries of an unprecedented spirit of cooperation among all who represent us at every level. We are also joined tonight by several of our prior mayors. In addition to Mayor DeMille, former Mayor Shiver, who also served as the county manager for Miami-Dade County, is here, together with Mayor Bateman. I believe Mayor Shelley was going to be coming in late. Mayor Shelley, we got word late this evening that neither Mayors Porter or Sincor would be able to join us as we expected. I had hoped that we could all be here. I think it's a tremendous photo op where 7 of the 9 living mayors were all here together. But none of us are going to leave office unscathed. But those who have already departed share in common that in their moment, the people elected them as mayor, and each left their own unique imprint on our community. And I hope every one of us wants to thank you for what you did during your time as mayor. Also joining us tonight are former council members Bobby Shiver, Ron Doris, Eddie Baronis, Judy Waldman, and Elvis Maldonado. And we thank them for their years of service as well. So, Destination Homestead. We are truly a foremost destination for new homeowners. Last year, nearly 1,100 new families made the decision to call Homestead home. Destination Homestead. We are the destination for new business. Just prior to the pandemic in October of 2019, there were 2,294 licensed businesses operating in the city. Today, despite the economic ravages of COVID-19 and inflation, we now have of record 2,720 businesses, representing 426 new economic and job generators, an 18% increase despite what we've been through over the past 2.5 years. And among those businesses we have recently gained are Sprouts Market, providing locally sourced produce and Atlantic sapphire salmon, all produced right here in our own backyard, not to mention the nearly 200 new jobs. The long-awaited Target is set for opening in late October with another couple of hundred jobs. Raising Cane's Cajun Chicken and Cold Stone Creamery are not far behind. The rumors are no longer rumors. And the truth is, Chick-fil-A is coming to a site across the street from Homestead Hospital. And if you see a guy tonight, pay attention, real tall guy with a tie that has a Chick-fil-A logo. He's the proprietor of that store. And he spoke with me over a year ago and asked a lot of questions about Homestead, and just an amazing conversation. We've spoken several times since then. And I know that he and his wife are going to be tremendous supporters and contributors for our community. And now I get to let you in on another big secret that I hope none of you all even know yet either. And I want to thank the parties involved for allowing me to announce publicly their plans. Jimmy Flanagan is in the house tonight, and while I cannot yet share the location in Homestead where we're going to find some of the world's best baby back ribs and chicken wings, the Flanagan family and team are committed to bringing their brand to Homestead. And to those who say our downtown is not a desirable destination, we say look again. There have been several serious inquiries and site visits from brewers and distillers who could lead the downtown revival with craft beer, distilled spirits, restaurants, tasting rooms, and live entertainment. The Seminole Theater had a great year with numerous sold-out quality performances with wide appeal. The bowling alley continues to draw crowds, and Chef Yoderick at Chefs on the Run is a champion contender in the battle to be named Best Burger in all of Miami-Dade County. and he is one of the most vocal cheerleaders for the potential of our historic downtown. Cirque Salon Studios at Homestead Station is under construction and will provide scores of new entrepreneurs the opportunity to thrive while providing services to our residents all day, every day. The Student Resource Center at Miami-Dade College is underway, as we've seen, and its look sets the bar for new projects along the transit line. The new Losner Park will finally open in the fall and will be everything a downtown park should be. Lushly landscaped with a playground and performance stage, plus a quiet area dedicated to our veterans. The park will serve as a shaded oasis and will be the hub for regularly held events of all sorts to bring residents and visitors alike to the destination we call Downtown Homestead. Plans are already being made for the Christmas tree lighting, which will be nothing like we have ever seen. And it is my commitment to ensure that all of our public events are befitting and reflective of a well-run, mature city that our residents will be pleased to attend, creating a sense of pride in our community. Our homestead is the destination for industrial development, creating jobs and enhancing our tax base. The Amazon distribution facility is complete, but like many other projects, awaits delivery of specialized equipment and vehicles. So how ironic is that? Amazon is waiting for a delivery. Let that sink in. And applications have been filed for nearly 150 acres of new industrial uses in just the last few months. Homestead is the destination in Miami-Dade County for industrial developers from across the country. Homestead is the destination for quality youth sports. Our leagues have never been more active or in demand. From Dick Conley football to Homestead Little League, softball, basketball, and AYSO, we have it all. And I'm sure that someday soon, we will see a beach volleyball team composed of young women from our area compete and win as Olympic champions. The Lumiday Beach Volleyball League is flourishing, and we are happy to partner with those leaders who are committed to athletic excellence. Destination Homestead. Not only do we have a variety of public, private, and charter schools, many of which have achieved top rankings and grades, the City of Homestead has partnered with the Leigh Hardeen Early Learning Program to expand its services. This partnership utilizes the facility abandoned by the YMCA. Leigh Hardeen has also partnered with FIU, and we look forward to the expansion of the FIU presence in Homestead. Absolutely. An internationally known foundation is expected to offer terms to utilize another portion of the Y facility for further unique expansion of educational opportunities. And Miami-Dade College continues to expand its programming, and the Student Center, just steps from City Hall, clearly reflects the MDC commitment to Homestead. They have certainly come a long way from the days of being a handful of classrooms in the Sunday school building at the old First Baptist Church on Chrome Avenue. What a difference those 30 years make. And for the first time in memory, Homestead is represented by a young, vibrant, involved member of the school board who knows and understands the educational needs in our area. The frenzy in the real estate market has been beneficial to the outlook of Homestead. New construction accounts for only about 5% of the 14% increase in our tax base as of the first of this year, meaning used homes and commercial properties that previously enjoyed significant tax exemptions are now in the hands of new owners and are on the tax rolls at a significantly higher rate. Once sales are posted for this year, our tax base will grow further, and most importantly, our ability to enhance services and public safety while lowering tax rates. But as we go forward, let's not forget the lessons of 2008 and continue to find real efficiency in our operations through the use of technology, questioning all of our policies and procedures to keep them up to date and cost effective. We must utilize more technology while utilizing less paper and valuable time. Opening a utilities account, applying for or renewing a business license, or obtaining a simple permit should not always require a trip to City Hall or a postage stamp. The expanded tax base, though, is not a fully loaded debit card with which to recklessly spend. And from day one, it has been my goal to put our dormant assets to work. I want to be really concise about how I pronounced assets. I am confident that in the coming weeks, we will craft an agreement for the future use of the old City Hall site as an iconic project that we can all be proud of and that provides ongoing financial and other community benefit. The potential sale of our remaining fill will also produce significant revenue over the coming months and years. But it's my view and my request of the management team and my colleagues that we exercise prudence and restraint as these one-time and extraordinary amounts of money are received. Let's first commit those resources to roadway and intersection improvements. While the county continues to approve development beyond our city limits that increases traffic burdens within our city, it has failed to utilize millions of dollars in road impact fees for the benefit of Homestead. We must act, and these proceeds will allow us the ability to fund local traffic relief measures. Additionally, to the extent an agreement for the reuse of Old City Hall relieves the general fund from the ongoing debt that encumbers that parcel for the next 11 years, I request that those amounts are best used and should be used going forward, the relief amounts that are no longer coming out of the general fund, to equip our police officers with the training, protective gear, and technology they need for our safety and theirs. The judicious allocation of these unusual and limited items of income will allow us to repair and enhance our existing parks, create a new park, and invest in technologies from ongoing general fund revenues without cutting services or raising taxes. Homestead is a storied, proud, separate, distinct, and unique community. And as a premier destination, we must ensure that folks know they have arrived. When you cross into the Homestead of the near future, you should realize it by our clean streets, well-kept building, unique public signage, and the absence of visual clutter. Following years of false starts, inaction, and reallocation of funds, our now energized and visionary Public Art Committee has crafted a plan to place art in many forms throughout the city in highly visible locations accessible to all. In order to accomplish this and attract high-end residential and more business and community amenities, we must travel the lengthy and expensive road of amending our code and enforcing basic community standards. Our city must look and feel clean, safe, and attractive. We are now installing new surveillance technology to detect and catch criminal activity. Let this be a warning to those who sneak into our city in the dead of night to dump construction scraps, landscaping debris, tires, and dangerous substances. We are resolved to catch you, to take your equipment, put you out of business, and have you prosecuted to the full extent available to a city. To the landlords of both commercial and residential properties, you will be held responsible and financially accountable for the failure of your tenants to comply with community standards. You will no longer be permitted to operate deteriorating buildings at the expense of our quality of life and the desirability of our community. And this vision for our city can be implemented through the adoption of a coherent and concise code that we can rely upon to protect our community. Homestead is the destination for technology and innovation. As a member of the board of the Miami-Dade County Transportation Planning Organization, I recently reviewed the plans of several multinational entities to deploy futuristic modes of public transportation in and to Homestead. And the days of George Jetson's flying car are almost here. Homestead is a destination appearing in maps in the classrooms of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and boardrooms in Paris, Madrid, Munich, and London. I've seen them. They know about us, and they are ready to be here. And those who envision unleashing the transportation technology of tomorrow, today, and those investing in our city clearly understand that transporting people to Homestead is as equally important as providing a fast and efficient alternative for our residents to travel northward for employment and leisure. And there are several companies in South Florida who can provide the innovation and construction systems to allow lot owners to more quickly and economically complete housing through the use of 3D printing, alternative materials, and other construction methods. These homes are indistinguishable from a traditional site-built home, and we must welcome and embrace these products to meet the needs of our community. And if we are to be a great destination, we must control our own destiny. While all eyes are on Homestead as the last frontier, and that puts us in the driver's seat to choose the best route, the road ahead is not without obstacles. The downtown Miami establishment, including many elected officials, even after 30 years, still see us as just Homestead, as the place to relocate and congregate those less fortunate. The most dangerous piece of debris in the road to prosperity and progress for Homestead is the likely enactment of an amendment to the county's rapid transit zone ordinance. This legislation, for example, would allow for the construction of 1,000 subsidized rental units in the city on county-owned property only 4 acres in size, soaring 25 stories high with no regard to the character of our community. In light of the proliferation of high-rise subsidized housing along US 1 from Cutler Bay to our northern boundaries, there should be no doubt that those who profit handsomely at the expense of communities might finally break through our borders if the current version of the ordinance is approved on September 1st. Not only do I call upon our District 8 and 9 commissioners as the representatives of the largest city in their districts to continue their opposition to this unwanted preemption of local control, but to actively work to convince their commission colleagues to enact the changes that Homestead has requested. These amendments are vital to the future of our community. We cannot achieve an economically diverse community or accomplish a thriving and desirable downtown, nor can our public safety, streets, and other public services be adequately provided if this proposal becomes law. I will be at the county podium on September 1st advocating for our best interest. Additionally, as development proposals come before us, we cannot allow our destiny to be derailed with inferior products and the get-rich-and-get-out-quick vision that has been allowed to proliferate development. Our goal must always be to achieve what we want rather than concede to an incompatible proposal. We must avoid being reactionary, not falling prey to the trendy ideas of higher density and smaller homes, and remain committed to a long-term vision of prosperity and diversity for our community. The capital improvements we have planned for our entire park system will better serve our youth leagues, senior citizen activities, and everything in between. Earlier this evening, we saw a preview for the complete renovation of the sports complex. I want to reiterate, this is not just a hopeful concept, but a reflection of the reality that will materialize over the next few years. The first small step was taken through the planting of mature oak trees within the adjacent median through the generosity of Patrick Gleaver and his partners at Keys Gate. When that park opens, I want it to look like it's been there forever. We have funding in hand and expect further county, state, and federal grants together with generous philanthropic gifts to bring that vision and community need to reality. This world-class facility will serve not only our burgeoning population, but as a significant economic engine as we host regional tournaments that will draw hundreds of families, many of whom will explore Homestead, spend the night, and dine out. As Vice Mayor Guzman and Council Members Avila, Bailey, Faircloth, Fletcher, Roth, and I continue on this journey together, we are accompanied and supported by our spouses, significant others, children, and extended family. Without their love, understanding, encouragement, and dare I say permission, none of us would be here. And next year, incredibly, next year will mark the 30th anniversary of my first run at elected office. You remember that, Tad? So close, yet so far away. The 30th anniversary of my first run at elected office, and none of which I have tried or have accomplished for Homestead since then, both in and out of office, would have been possible without the support of Lori, our children, or my mother. And I want them to know that I do not have adequate vocabulary to express my gratitude for their support, sacrifice, and yes, suffering. And I'd like the family members of all of our elected officials to stand so that we can show our appreciation for that which you do to allow us to do what we do. Come on, spouses, kids, parents, in-laws. Come on, guys. So in this era of social media instant gratification, I stand by the proposition that true leadership is not really found in a selfie or an Instagram post, but rather in what we leave behind as accomplishments and in laying the foundation for future accomplishments. Every Sunday morning, the services at the First Baptist Church are closed with the congregation singing a song that includes the line, "May all who come behind us find us faithful," and also, "May the fire of our devotion light their way." So in closing, let us contemplate those words and recognize that what we do today is not for the here and now, but for the years from now. Let us work for and in devotion to our community, and let us serve to build a legacy that will inspire those who follow us. Thank you. So we didn't. Nobody does it better. That's right. Okay. So we have plenty of beverages and a lot of food left over. 8 o'clock was just a suggestion on the invitation. Please, again, thank you for being here. Thank you to our staff and our sponsors. Please stay and enjoy. Stay until it runs out. Good night.